We shot this entire commercial from idea to final delivery in 2 weeks. And the biggest reason it turned out the way it did had very little to do with the camera and everything to do with pre-production and communication.
Fresh starts here.
Every bowl made to order.
Real fruit, real ingredients.
Because better food should be easy.
Ready when you are.
So you can take it anywhere.
And turn simple moments into something more.
Vida isn't just what you eat.
It's how it brings people together.
This project started with our client, our friend Elijah, coming to us with a vision. And like most clients, it wasn't fully formed. It was an idea, a direction, a feeling he wanted to capture. And this is where I think a lot of filmmakers get it wrong. Your job is not just to show up and push buttons and shoot what the client says. Your job is to help shape the vision, to direct, to consult, to guide the project into something that actually works. Because if you just say yes to everything the client throws at you, you're not doing your job. And if you just say no without offering solutions, you're also not doing your job. The goal is to meet in the middle. So for us, the biggest focus was getting aligned before we ever showed up to shoot. And that meant a lot of communication, calls, texts, voice memos, going back and forth, refining the idea, and not just talking about it loosely, but getting very specific. What does the story feel like? What are the actual shots? How does this thing start? How does it end? What are the key moments we cannot miss? We wanted to get to a point where we could almost see the edit in our heads before we ever hit record. Because once you have that level of clarity, everything else becomes easier. You move faster on set, you make better decisions, and you eliminate a lot of stress. I always tell people the most important part of any production is pre-production. Not shooting, not editing, pre-production. Because that's where expectations are set, that's where alignment happens, and that's where trust is built. And trust is everything. If your client trusts you before you ever pick up your camera, the entire process becomes smoother, the shoot is smoother, the edit is smoother, and the final delivery is received better because they already believe in what you're doing. And I think another thing that needs to be said, especially in today's industry, is this. It's not about breaking the bank on gear. It's not about building the biggest camera package you can possibly build. It's not about renting the most expensive lights just because you can. Our responsibility as filmmakers and directors is to serve the client in the best way possible. And a huge part of that is being efficient with their budget, maximizing every dollar they're trusting us with, not exploiting it, not inflating it just so we can play with new gear. And I think early on, a lot of us fall into that trap. We think more gear equals better work. We think showing up with the biggest setup proves something. But in reality, that usually comes from a lack of confidence, trying to compensate instead of actually understanding what the project needs. For us, especially working with small businesses, this matters even more because every dollar counts. So our goal is to always pull off the vision in the most efficient way possible, using what we have, being intentional with what we bring in, and only adding gear when it actually serves the story, not our ego. And what I've learned over time is that the better you understand lighting, composition, and storytelling, the less gear you actually need. And that's when things start to really click. Another big part of this was scheduling, understanding how to structure the day so that everything works in your favor. We planned the entire shoot around our most important moment, which was shooting at sunset. So everything we did earlier in the day was built to lead us into that window at the right time. Because timing is lighting, and if you get that right, you elevate your entire project without adding anything extra. Now, in terms of gear, this was actually a very simple setup. We shot the majority of the commercial on the Red Scarlet, which gave us great dynamic range and flexibility in post. We paired that with a Sigma 24-70 and an 85-1.4 and an 18-35 for wider shots. For the product shots, we used the Nikon ZR. We also had a wireless monitor so the client can see everything in real time because it kept everything aligned throughout the shoot. But again, none of that matters if the foundation isn't there. The reason this project worked is because we were aligned before the shoot even started. Be clear with your clients. Communicate often, set expectations early, and position yourself as someone who brings solutions, not just someone who executes tasks. Because at the end of the day, people aren't hiring you for your camera, they're hiring you for your perspective. And if you can lead the project well, the final product will always reflect that. Now, a huge part of bringing this whole piece together was in post, we used Artlist for the music and also generated the voiceover using their AI tools, which played a massive role in shaping the final film. I'm gonna break all of that down in part 2, how we edited this commercial, how we paced it, how we chose music, color grading, all of it. So if you wanna see that, make sure you're subscribed. Hey, if you got something out of this video, be sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who's trying to level up their filmmaking. We appreciate you guys a ton, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.